Hello, everyone. Today I am going to be doing the full lyrics breakdown on my rap called excuse me, Proliferation. And this one was definitely one of my favorites. This one was pretty quick and concise, in my opinion. And I tried to fill a lot of heavy over the head content where a lot of my lines, a lot of my bars went overheads and were pretty complex. So I am just going to simply be reading the lyrics in my rap. I will not be rapping them. I will just be reading them, and then I will go over any hidden meanings, any Easter eggs. I will go over every individual meaning, every part of it that I think needs extra explanation, any part of my writing processes, and any additional information that I feel needs to be said. So, okay, allow me to start here. Okay, I was a prisoner. Now I'm free, and it's ironic, to be quite honest. I'm making a generic prison shank that's a byproduct of a cell product. Okay, so very dope opening line here. Now, so I'm going off of the word ironic. Now, what makes it ironic is the end of this rhyme here. I'm saying that buy and sell, okay? Buy and sell, those are words in marketing. Okay, those you buy or you sell something when it comes to products and stuff. Okay, but I'm also saying a byproduct, okay? A byproduct means off of something else. Now, when I say a sell product, I'm not talking about buy, sell, B-U-Y or S-E-L-L, but in this case, I say a sell product because I said I'm making a generic prison shank. Okay, well, a prison shank is a cell product because that's what you would make in a prison cell. And the reason it's works with the irony when I say a byproduct of the cell product is because I say it is a generic prison shank. So it's a byproduct of what a prison shank would be. So that's just me starting off with a nice irony of putting words together. And this is just, it's pretty simple to understand this opening line, absolutely, but definitely some thought provoking content as I always try and do. Okay, continuing here. When I said prisoner, I meant I cannot escape my dreams I followed from here on forward. Not everyone gets born and raised, but everyone gets born and lowered. Okay, this easy to understand, but by far one of the favorite things I have ever written, hands down. Okay, now what I'm saying here is the first part easy to explain is I'm saying that I am not a prisoner as far as I'm not a felon, I am not in prison. That's all I meant. Okay, that's not me. And but here, the second line is one of the favorite things I've ever written. It's just simply amazing. It's a great quote. It doesn't need the thing it rhymes with or anything. It can just be said on its own and it works. I said, not everyone gets born and raised, but everyone gets born and lowered. And now what this means is, okay, everyone, everybody that's ever born, every human being, okay, technically speaking, to be born and raised, which by the way is a common saying, born and raised. Okay, were you born and raised with good parents? Were you born and raised in foster care? Were you born and raised in a barn? Were you born and raised in the projects? Okay, just get that out of the way. But I said basically, unfortunately too, not everyone is born and raised. Okay, and you're probably thinking, well, why am I so specific and why am I speaking the obvious? Well, there's a point I'm making here. Okay, everybody is born, because you can't talk to someone who wasn't born, obviously. You're listening to me, so then I was born. If I'm talking to you, okay, you were born, obviously. But the raised part, technically speaking, unfortunately, it is optional. Okay, it's not your fault, but it is optional. Okay, everyone who's born, they don't have to be raised technically. They could have had horrible parents. They could have been shoved through the foster system. They could have been abandoned as a baby. They could have been discarded or whatever the case may be. Or you could have a parent who is just mediocre, whatever the case is. Not everybody who is born is also raised. Okay. And I said, but everyone gets born, as I already mentioned, and lowered. Okay. First of all, raised, lowered, those are opposites. Those are antonyms. Those are different perspectives. Okay. But I'm also saying, well, so everybody does get born, as I mentioned before, or else you couldn't talk to them, obviously. But lowered, okay. What I'm saying there, what I am basically trying to get people to presume here is no matter what walk of life you go through, you may not be born and raised, because the word raised in that phrase, born and raised, the word raised is optional. But everyone who's born, everyone will get lowered. And what that means is it's giving you, basically a look into the future of the end of your time alive, which is you get lowered into the ground in a casket, in a pine box, in an urn, whichever method you choose or whatever. But in the cemetery, everyone gets born and lowered. Okay. So just a very dope, very simple, the way I worded it, not the way I explain it isn't simple, but the way I worded it is very simple. Not everyone gets born and raised, because getting raised is optional, unfortunately. We would hope everyone would get raised by a nice home and by nice, but that's not the case. Now, to get born and lowered, that is the entire difference right there. So, because when you get lowered, that's what happens to everybody. If you were raised with a great life, great legal guardians or parents, grandparents, or if you had a horrible upcoming, a horrible childhood, and you weren't raised right at all, you still will be born and then lowered. So just a very dope line. Love this line. You can use this quote without even knowing that it was done in rap form or anything. And just a little hidden Easter egg. I'm going to tell you this right now. I used this quote in my book, in my novel, my fiction, my action adventure suspenseful thriller book, free to download on all platforms and all types of media outlets, and it's called Going Live in 3 2 What by Adam Stark, me. And I actually used that quote in the book. And in the book, I mentioned one of the characters' parents had said that quote. And when obviously it was really me, Adam Stark, but I said in the book that it was one of their parents that said it. And it was a mantra that they lived by. Okay, so just wanted to let you know there in case you didn't know, and I'm sure many people didn't know. But continuing on here, why not change my whole life and identify a life and live where people cherish us? Instead of Adam Stark, I could relax and be Chilean low in South America. Get it? Relax and be Chilean low in South America. Okay, so what I'm basically saying here, it's very dope because it's a double meaning, but then I also clarify that it's a double meaning by repeating it at the very end because I wanted people to understand this line the first time I said it. So, okay, what I'm saying is, okay, imagine changing my whole identity, my whole life. Okay, imagine changing that, changing every single thing about me or whatever. Okay, in other words, I could be someone other than Adam Stark. And here's the point I'm saying, which makes it a double meaning. Okay, if I'm changing everything about me, okay, clearly I am not Chilean as far as the race, Chilean, capital Chilean, which is the people from Chile, the country Chile, which is in the continent of South America. Obviously, I'm not Chilean. Okay, it's pretty clear to me. If you look at me, you could tell I'm not. I am German Irish. It's a completely different thing, ethnicity. And what I'm saying is, okay, imagine if I change my whole identity, then I could, and that includes, of course, my ethnicity. Then I'm saying I could be Chilean, which is low in South America. Okay, because Chile is low in South America. But I'm also saying I could be chill-layin low in South America. Now that those two things sound exactly the same, chill-layin low and Chilean low. So one of them is a three-word conjunction, chill, lay, and low, Chill space Layin H-I-N apostrophe. Instead of laying, I take out the G for hip hop slang and I just add an apostrophe. So Layin apostrophe and then low, Low. Okay. And that sounds exactly the same as the pronoun Chilean low, Chilean space Low. So just a very dope double meaning there. And I do repeat it at the end in the actual rap so that people will understand what I was saying because that's what I wanted to go for. I wanted people to get the concept that I was going with there the first time they heard it. Okay, continuing here. I'll stay being myself despite all the vast hate and little joy. Most speak with such vulgar, highfalutin language and still can't make a cogent point. Okay, so this one very simple. It's not a double meaning or a metaphor or anything. I'm basically just calling people out. I'm saying, okay, most people what they do is it's the internet is so pessimistic. Okay, there's more hate than there is positivity. We can never admit that someone else has talent. That's one of the things that I pride myself in doing that. But many people they go beyond being just a critic because I welcome criticism. I hope people understand that. I welcome criticism. You're allowed to do that any time of the week. You can message me or comment and I will accept it as long as it's something reasonable or understandable. Okay, if it's flat out hatred, then it's different. Okay, but what I'm saying is that with all this hatred coming from well, mostly dipshits or mostly people with no real identity on the internet that we can see or that is foreseeable. I'm saying here's the point. Okay, say all you want and I can get little joy from it because I will stay being myself. I'm not going to change despite all the hate. Okay? And then I'm saying most speak with such vulgar, highfalutin language, but still can't make a cogent point. I used big words here because I'm trying to make a cogent point myself by saying, okay, these haters, okay, you could use all the big words and the strong, intelligent words you want to use to make your point of why in your hater point of view, why I'm not great or why I'm not good or why I'm not as good or why I'm overhyped. But my point is you never make any good points. I never hear them. I never hear a good point. Okay. And all the good points about me, I've made my damn self. I admitted that I am not good at making choruses. This rap right here I'm reading to you and breaking down the lyrics to doesn't have a chorus. Okay. I admit I'm not good at making choruses and hooks. I've admitted this stuff all the time. So I wait, I listen to the hate, and I never hear a point to it. All I hear is I don't sound like the dipshits in the mainstream corporate hip hop today. Well, that's not a cogent point. That's a retarded point. That point doesn't make any fucking sense. That's the kind of point that doesn't help your case because I don't want to sound like these dipshits that don't have any double meanings. They don't have anything of talent with their lyrics. Okay, because lyrics is the most important thing to me. Okay, continuing on here. Most MCs don't know what hunger is, yet success is what they're gunning for. I'll eat breakfast, skip lunch and dinner, then dessert time I'll eat once more. Okay, this line's very dope for one funny reason. It's a funny line because here's what's cool about it in case you catch it, or should I say thought you caught it. Okay, excuse me. This is not a double meaning. That's correct. You heard me. This is not a double meaning. This does not have two implied meanings in this line. It is made to sound like it. But the way I worded this specifically, it does not have two implied meanings to it. It sounds like it does because if you look at the last words in the sentence, once more, okay? Or am I saying once more? ONE space SMORE? Or am I saying ONCE space MORE? Okay, one s'more, s'more is a snack. Or am I saying once more, as in one more time, once more? And it's not a double meaning because I never implied what the dessert would be. I never did that. I was never specific. But what I wanted to do was get people to think, which am I saying? Because I said, okay, I'm going off of hunger and success, those are synonymous in hip hop. Hunger means you want to be successful and you've got the motivation. Okay, but then just listen to this line. I said I'll eat breakfast, skip lunch and a dinner, then dessert time I'll eat once more. So the reason is those two things sound exactly the same, but which one do I really mean? Do I mean I'll eat one s'more? Because I said at dessert time I'm going to eat. Will I eat one s'more? Or am I not saying specifically a s'more is what I'll eat, but I'm saying I will eat once more, as in one more time. You don't know, you never will know. I understand that if you actually read it on the screen, I have one of them in parentheses to show it, but still, that doesn't prove anything. I just did it that way, but for the sake of reading it when I was wrapping it. But my point is, you don't know which one I meant, and you never will, and that's what makes this dope. You have no idea. It's not a double implied meaning. It's not, because I never implied. I never said anything about graham crackers, Hershey's chocolate or whatever, and marshmallows. I never said that. So you don't know which one I'm implying, and that's what makes this dope. So it's not a double meaning, but it's still very dope because it makes you think, it makes you wonder, it makes you in your head you want to know which one I meant, but you will never know. Not even right now as I break it down, you never will know which one I'm talking about. You can certainly guess. I mean, a s'more is a dessert, but I could have anything at dessert time. Is it even a dessert? I mean, it's just a time. Dessert time would mean post dinner time. So you don't know which one I'm having. So okay, just a very dope line made you think there. So all right, continuing on here. Even sober drivers are reckless crime ravers. Driving a car without insurance is like buying a toy Yoda without a lightsaber. Okay, so this is just a funny line, just a funny trick the audience line. Okay, because here I am talking about frickin' cars, talking about drivers, talking about bad, reckless drivers. And then here I say a Toyota. Now, the company or the car model, Toyota, pronoun, capital Toyota, sounds exactly the same as the two word conjunction with another pronoun, because it's a character from Star Wars, Toy space capital Yoda, Toyota, or the car company, Toyota. Now they sound exactly the same, but what I'm saying is driving a car without insurance is like buying a toy space Yoda without a lightsaber, because it would be incomplete if you bought a toy or an action figure of Yoda, the Jedi from Star Wars, without a lightsaber. Well, what's the point? You're missing the other half of the toy, basically, or of the character. But I'm saying also a Toyota, a car, which is one of the cars. I'm saying without imagine driving that without insurance would be like having a toy Jedi Yoda without a lightsaber. It would be absurd. But what's funny is when you listen to it the first time, you think I'm talking about an actual car, Toyota, like the Toyota car, and it turns out I'm not. And that's what it's just a funny line. It's not a double meaning, but it's a funny line and it makes you think I'm going to say something, especially when I set it up by mentioning driving twice, talking about reckless drivers and car insurance. And it comes to find out as you listen further that I wasn't even going to say Toyota, the car company. But I definitely tricked most of you. Maybe some of you didn't get tricked, but a decent amount of you surely did. So just a dope, funny line. That's all that is. Continuing here. When I used to host at a restaurant, people would ask me if there was a booth in the bar. I'd say hell no, but I got bars in the booth. Now, this is dope because what I'm basically saying is, um, if you host at a restaurant, certain restaurants, anyways, you either have the booths to sit in, what type of seat, or there is the bar to sit in. You can seat them to the bar if you're hosting. Okay, and I just found a funny way to flip this because I said booth in the bar, like as if a customer walked into the restaurant and they asked me, is there a booth in the bar? And I basically flip it and I'm saying, fuck this hosting a restaurant shit. I'm a rapper at the end of the day. So I say, Hell no, I got bars in the booth. So instead of booth in the bar, bars in the booth. Because booth in hip hop means that's where you're spitting. That's where your studio is with your microphone, your recording equipment. And if you have bars in the booth, that means you're recording good lyrics. And you've been accepted for that. So just a very dope way to flip, you know, doing something at a job I used to do into, now being a rapper and saying, no, no, I'm not just some guy hosting at a restaurant. No disrespect to them at all. By the way, a job is a job. I'm not disrespecting it at all. I'm just saying that I personally was able to move on. Okay, continuing on here. I've been at the bottom of the ladder, but I've had a habit to climb it. I make the best of every opportunity. I'm like a great English student because I'm punctual about capitalizing. Okay, this is very, very dope. Okay, I love this line because, okay, I basically capitalizing, or in the hip hop slang, capitalize in, take out the G at the end and add an apostrophe. But to capitalize off of anything means, I mean, not, okay, sorry, it has multiple meanings, but one of them is to make the best of a situation. You know, okay, you're watching, excuse me, you're watching your favorite sport, okay? And what happens when the player scores the point for their team, or the goal or the touchdown, whatever it is? What do one thing you could say is such and such player really capitalized off of that play, or off of that move, or off of that whatever it was that allowed them to score. Okay. That's one. And now another way is being literal about capitalizing and talking about making a letter capitalized. In other words, an uppercase letter instead of a lowercase and such. And then, okay, another thing, the word punctual. Now, punctual in works of writing in the English term of it can mean, of course, you are putting your punctuation marks, as in your commas, your exclamation marks, your question marks, your apostrophes, your colons, your semicolons, your dashes, your hyphens, all those things. You're putting them in the right spots. You're using them correctly. You're not putting, you know, stupid things in the wrong places or whatever. Okay, but punctual also means being on time, not being tardy. Okay, it means being on time. So I said, I make the best out of every opportunity. And then I could say, I'm punctual about capitalizing. Okay, and that would have made sense right there. But since I'm Adam Stark, I make every line more impressive and a much better comparison, as in I make it into a simile, where instead of just saying, I make the best out of every opportunity, I'm punctual about capitalizing, I said, I'm like a great English student because I'm punctual about capitalizing. Okay, a great English student would imply that this particular English student knows very well how to do a good job with using their punctuation and using their capitalizations. So, comparing that to the other meanings of punctual and capitalizing, it is me saying that I will make great of every opportunity, as I said, leading up to that in the setup of the sentence. Okay, very dope simile there. Continuing on here, my body of work is a landscape of astounding greatness. Even if you put my life's achievements on paper, collect boulders, and become a landscaper, still won't be in your favor because Xerox couldn't copy my foundation. Okay, very, very dope. This is an amazing double meaning line here. Very impressive. I was very happy when I finally figured out a way to finish this one. Now, I want to make this clear. Yes, I had to have a long setup for this one because I rhymed great, astounding greatness with foundation. Okay, I get it. It was a long setup. But that's why in the middle of those two things, I made things rhyme. So I was allowed to have a long setup because I rhymed paper, landscaper, favor. I rhymed those three things. Now, here's where the double meaning comes in. Xerox and cuz your rocks, you have to say it at the right speed, and then it sounds exactly the same, allowing you to pull off a double implied meaning line. Okay. Xerox is a pronoun and it's Xerox, which is what you use to make a photocopy of something or to print something with paper. Okay. And it's a copier from a copier machine. Okay. And I'm also saying cuz, no, cuz, CUZ is extremely common. That's why I use it, and that's why many people use it in hip hop slang, which is short for because, the word because, but cuz anyway, in case you didn't know that, cuz your rocks. Now, your, that's another word common in hip hop slang. Instead of the word your, Y-O-U-R, it's just your, you are. Common enough to been used many, multiple times, several times throughout the years in works of writing. And so I use your. Now, cuz your rocks, CUZ space UR space ROCKS sounds exactly the same as the pronoun Xerox, or excuse me, cuz Xerox, CUZ space capital XEROX. No, what I'm saying is nobody could copy my landscape of astounding greatness, as in how much I've done in my, we'll call it catalog of hip hop, how much I have done in my works of writing by quality, not by quantity, but by quality, by how much amazing punchlines, amazing similes, amazing entendres, amazing multiple implied meanings, amazing works of art that I have produced. I'm saying nothing can copy my landscape. Now, landscape, foundation, those words go together. And what I'm saying is nothing you do talking to the haters, excuse me, talking to the haters, naysayers, or the competition, nothing you guys can do could copy my foundation, as in the stuff I've been able to pull off in hip hop. Okay. And I wanted to make a double meaning, of course, instead of just saying, hey, none of you guys can do it. I'm saying, okay, even if you put my life's achievements on paper, okay, paper keyword, collect boulders, which is another word for rocks, and become a landscaper. I said it's still, even all of that I just mentioned, as far as my foundation, I said still won't be in your favor because Xerox couldn't copy my foundation. And I'm saying also because your rocks couldn't copy my foundation. Okay. What I'm basically saying here is none of that. If you're taking the foundation part literally, my foundation, Adam Stark's foundation, I'm saying your rocks couldn't copy my foundation. My rocks are just simply better. But I'm also saying Xerox, the machine, even that machine that you pay for to use in whatever store it is, okay, or if you own a Xerox copier machine, even that couldn't copy my foundation. That's why I said still won't be in your favor. I said none of that stuff is going to be able to compete with what I have already done. I am just that much better and I am that much more far ahead. Okay, continuing on here. When I'm practicing punchlines so low, I might get jabbed in the foot. Now, I'm going to stop right here really quick. What this is saying is okay, when I'm practicing punchlines solo, now you think I'm saying the word solo, SOLO, as in alone, but it's also saying I'm practicing my punchlines so low, SO space LOW, sounds exactly the same as the word solo. And I said, I might get jabbed in the foot. What I wanted to do is, I said this line because I wanted people to think, what in the world am I going to say, right after? I say, when I'm practicing punchlines solo, I wanted people to think, what was I about to say? And then I ended up, of course, saying, I might get jabbed in the foot. And then you go, oh, he's talking about so low, as in low as far as altitude, as far as height goes. So I'm saying punchlines, punching, get jabbed in the foot. Like, what's lower than the foot? Of course, nothing. So I'm saying, okay, it might get jabbed in the foot. And if I'm solo, of course, my foot, obviously. Okay, so I might get jabbed in the foot. Now, this line, next line here, one of the funniest lines I've ever written in my entire life. It's hilarious. It's just flat out absurd and it's hilarious. It's funny. It's too damn funny and it's a double meaning. Okay. Are you lost? Bitch, learn how to read directions like a male anatomy book. Okay. Or excuse me, not a double meaning, but it's a simile. Very dope simile. Okay. This is hilarious. Now, the phrase learn to read directions, common enough. We've heard it many times before. It's a common phrase, but it means, figure out how to properly find your destination better than you have before or in the future because it's saying, what are you doing? You're getting lost, you're in the wrong place at the wrong maybe the wrong place at the wrong time, you're doing it wrong. But I'm saying but the reason it's funny is because I made it into a simile too, because I'm Adam Stark. I spice every line up by not just saying one thing, but I add more to it, which is a dope concept. Okay. So I said, are you lost? Bitch, learn how to read directions. Now I could have stopped right there and it would make sense, and of course, but it wouldn't have been as dope. It would just been oh, okay, Adam just said one thing. He didn't give us any thought provoking content, anything to make us think, extra hard and critically when we're listening to him. And then I said like a male anatomy book, and you're going a male anatomy book. Male anatomy book, what is that? And then you go, okay, the male anatomy, of course, is the male private parts, and if it's a book, you read books. And I'm saying, oh, so what he did was he took the word read directions, and if you hold on to the D sound, it sounds exactly the same as the word or as the two word conjunction read erections. So read directions, read erections. They sound exactly the same, 100% is READ space DIRECTIONS or READ space ERECTIONS. Okay. And very dope, very funny because instead of just saying, are you lost? Learn how to read directions. I'm saying like a male anatomy book because if you were reading a male anatomy book, then you would be reading erections. It's just a funny ass line because, like I said, it's one of those lines where you listen to it and it makes sense already. Excuse me. But then I add more to it in a funny way, in a way that no one else has thought of before me, just to make it that much more dope and that much more complex and that much more of a reason to remember that the talented Adam Stark wrote this line. Okay, continuing on here. Some people ramble, but I give discourses. The platitude of hip hop to me is very important. Every metaphor I say is an intelligent paragon. If I say I'm jamming nonstop, is it finger fucking foreplay or a music marathon? Okay, this is very dope, but it's just funny because I'm saying, all right, if I say I'm jamming nonstop, okay, is it finger fucking foreplay or a music marathon? This is, me getting perverted, but it's funny because I'm saying, okay, if I'm jamming nonstop, if I say just that line right there, what does it mean? And I always try and prove this point every time I rap, basically. I'm saying I can say anything, and you really do have to think, am I saying more than one thing? Or am I just saying one thing? Because I am, by far one of the greatest writers of all time as far as technical skill goes, where I can pull off amazing feats by, taking my time to carefully come up with dope concepts. And what I'm saying is, okay, if I say even a simple enough statement that I'm jamming nonstop, and I say, if I say, hey, sir, or hey, ma'am, I'm jamming nonstop, what does that mean? Then I'm asking you, what does it mean? Because you're understanding that this is Adam Stark here, so I can make up more than one meaning. So is it either finger fucking foreplay? Because what are you doing with your fingers in foreplay? Okay, you in the sexual act of fingering. Okay, you are jamming your fingers nonstop into the vagina. Okay, or is it a music marathon? Because that's another phrase that jamming means. If you're jamming to music, that's what you're doing. You're you know dancing to your music marathon. You got your headphones on, you're bobbing your head. Maybe you're singing along or lip syncing the words along. So it's either one. And so, as always, I go to show that I have the ability to turn anything that I want to do, that I come up with, into multiple meanings. And I just prove it there, even though it's a funny, perverted way. I still made a double meaning, which is the point. Okay. All right. Very dope. Very funny line. And before that, I'm basically just saying that some people ramble, but I give discourses. In other words, it's not, with a lot of people, they do ramble. They might think they know what they're talking about, and they'll just go on and on and on forever, or they'll just say what they think the other person wants to hear. And I'm saying, what's more impressive though, is just saying that, okay, here's this, here's that, here's what you want to hear, here's why I'm the best ever, or to give a discourse, so to actually teach something or take the time to show you something. And that's what I'm doing. And I said the platitude of hip hop to me is very important, and it is, because it's not important to these mainstream corporate hip hop artists of today's time. It's not important to them at all. They don't care about it. They just care about money. They care about ruining, you know, the civilization and to putting a bad look on all of hip hop as a whole. That's what they care about, those fucking dipshits. And every metaphor I say is an intelligent paragon, of course, as I provide you with a perfect example in the next sentence, as I already went over. Okay. Continuing on here. A whore today sucks to make millions because the industry is too greasy. In the 90s, they'd still be down in the pipes like Mario and Luigi. Okay. Now, this is very, very funny, very dope. What I'm saying is, okay, in the 90s, they'd still be. So I said a whore today sucks to make millions. Okay. The industry, as in the hip hop industry, music industry, or whatever, you got to be, you're not going to be talented to make it up there in most cases. You gotta make a deal with the devil, sort of thing. You gotta fucking, you know, do whatever it takes to get in there, bad things even. And I'm saying, okay, so that means you could do it even sucking a dick. Okay. And I'm saying, if this was the 90s, they'd still be down in the pipes. Now, that's slang for sucking a dick, downing the pipes. Okay. And then I made it a simile because I said, like Mario and Luigi. Okay. Now, of course, Luigi and Mario, what do they do in the video games back in the day of Super Mario Brothers? Is they jump down into the pipes. That's what they do in the video game. So just a dope comparison there. It's a simile. But continuing on here, who won a battle? Come get served. He thinks he's this great boss. It makes sense when you know what I heard. People around him say he never fires, has no fun with his gun, so he'll just walk around with a clipboard like a supervisor. Okay, this is very dope. This, by far, one of my favorite double meanings of all time. It's just impressive. So, what this is saying here, okay, is I'm saying, who want to battle me, rap battle, come get served. And I'll fuck you up. I'll kick your ass. And I'm saying, against my opponent, okay, he thinks he's this great boss. As in, okay, boss, as in it could mean a literal term, or it could mean, of course, the slang term, which just means somebody who's really cool, who's really awesome, who's really feeling themselves, or, whichever the case may be. And I said, oh, okay, I'm taking one way of it. Oh, he thinks he's a great boss. Well, it makes sense if you know what I heard. And then I said people around him said he never fires. Now, fires, that could mean with a gun, as in he never shoots his gun, or it could mean he never fires, as in, well, that's what a great boss would do, is he wouldn't fire anybody, because then people would love him. It's, oh, he's a great boss. He doesn't fire anybody. And then I said, has no fun with his gun, so he'll just walk around with a clipboard like a supervisor. Now, okay, supervisors, what do they walk around with? A clipboard. Okay, CLIPBOARD. That's a typical stereotype, and in a lot of cases, it is true. This is a stereotype that's not offensive. A lot of supervisors carry a clipboard around them. Okay, with them and such, taking notes, writing things down, or whatever. But I'm also saying a two-word conjunction, clip board. CLIP space BORED. Okay, because I said they never fires, which can imply the gun. I said has no fun with his gun. So he would be walking around with a clip, a full clip that isn't fired, because I said he doesn't fire it, bored, because he's not having fun with his gun. So he's not shooting his gun. So he'd just walk around with it bored. Okay. And then I said, like a supervisor. So then you think I'm also saying clipboard. Okay. Which is what supervisors would carry to take their notes and do their reports and stuff. So this is actually a simile, pardon me, but I used a very dope way of figuring out how these two things sound exactly the same. So just a very dope, one of my favorite lines I've ever written, that's for sure. Very dope the way I set it up. And this is one of those lines that you can perform it nicely too. And it works out very nice because you can basically say it and act it out as you say it, making it a dope punchline. Okay, continuing on here. Okay, you can go first. Psh. And that's, but by the way, just to be clear, when I say psh, I say that on purpose as an onomatopoeia. Now, the definition of onomatopoeia is, of course, words that are actually pronouncing sounds of something. You know, like a stupid example would be like whoosh. That could be like the wind or something. That's an onomatopoeia. You could say the word bang or pow. Those could be onomatopoeias for gunshots or something. Okay, but I'm just gonna go over it again. So you can go first. Psh, and then I say smoking gun evidence. Taking the steam out of your round is as easy as yes, I actually make a blow sound because I wanted to rhyme with psh, which is a nonsensical, not a real word. So I make a blow sound. Now, the definition of smoking gun evidence, it's a commonly used phrase, and it doesn't actually mean, in most cases, a gun that is smoking. No, a smoking gun evidence means that it is the linchpin in your case. The smoking gun evidence basically means you've got the number one fact on your side, the number one discovery on your side. You know, you've got the DNA evidence, you've got the fingerprint, or whatever the case may be. That's what smoking gun evidence is. And then I said, taking the steam out of your round is as easy as, and then I do a blow sound. Okay, so taking the steam out of your round, that is what that means, and it's a saying that means, no, of course, round as in your round of your rap battle round, or your round as in your song round. And what it means is, okay, taking the steam out of it means everything that you just said that was great. Well, I just did something that took all of your hype away by taking the steam out of it, was a saying. And I went, of course, because I said smoking gun evidence. Okay. But also, what I'm saying is taking the steam out of your round, that saying is as easy as, and I make a blowing sound. And then you realize what I really meant because I said smoking gun evidence. Well, if a gun is smoking, I can blow on it. And then guess what? That would take the steam out of the round because what's coming out of the round is smoke. Okay, it's smoking gun evidence if you're saying it literally, a smoking gun. And then evidence would be me is simply blowing, which would take the steam out of the round because the smoke's coming out. So just a dope concept there because what I'm saying is I have smoking gun evidence that I can, all the hype you have, if you go first, all the hype that you have against me, everything you think you're saying against me that's really nice, that's really talented, I can just as easily take that hype all away. And I used a dope comparison to provide you with enough evidence to give, my side of the story a better outlook. Okay, continuing on here. Now notice as you lose focus when you have control of something. You're back. How the fuck did it go? You got some bucks and some dough. I don't know if you're talking about animals or money. Okay. Now this is dope. This is just me proving once again, just by being funny. Not I didn't go super complex with this, so just being funny with it. But I wanted to show something. As once again, words can mean many different things. Many, many different things. And I said, okay, how the fuck did it go? You got some bucks and some dough. And I said, I don't know if you're talking about animals or money. Okay, bucks. The word bucks is slang for either money or bucks can mean deers, as in male deers with antlers. And then I said doe, some doe. Okay, doe, DOE, is a female deer. Okay, so am I saying you shot some male bucks and a female deer, doe? Or am I saying you got some bucks, as in paper money, and doe? Doe is, of course, slang for money as well. So which one am I saying? Animals or money? I don't. So I say, if you tell me you got some bucks and some dough, hey, Adam Stark, I got some bucks and some dough. I don't know if you're talking about animals or money by you just saying that, because I'm so smart with words that you could be implying either one with me without even you knowing it. So just again showing how anything in the world that I come up with can have more than one meaning. So very dope. They're very funny, easy to figure out punchline though. Continuing here, I should just stop. I'm so smart with words. Put you. I'm. Let me start. I'm sorry. I should just stop. I'm so smart. My words put you through painstaking anguish. I'm so Finnish, like the Sweden natives' language. Okay, this is dope because basically it's just one of those lines where you think I'm going to say something and I end it differently. So you think I'm going to say, I'm so finished, but I actually say something that sounds like that because I trick the audience listening to this again. And I say, I'm so Finnish, but I hold on to that sound at the end to again convince you I'm about to say the word finished. Instead, I used a word that's not nearly as common as the word finished because it's a pronoun, it's a specific language. Finnish. Finnish with no ed at the end. Finnish is a pronoun that means the native language of Sweden. So I just completely tricked you. As I said, I should just stop in what I was saying before, okay, in the setup. So you think I'm gonna say, okay, stop. What goes with stopping something is finishing something. But yet I don't even say that at all. I go in a completely different direction with a word that sounds like the word finished, and I just trick the audience with a easy to figure out simile. Finnish, like the Sweden native language. So very dope. Just me tricking the audience. Okay, continuing on here. Let me end this on a dark note. Getting twisted is where you'll wind up again. You're such a bitch you could die as a sim who's trying to swim. Buy my products for sale. You'll get the most bang for your buck as if I was a pimp. Okay, very dope. Now, first in the beginning, it's just funny. I said, let me end this on a dark note. Okay, nobody, as far as I know, has ever said that. The common saying is, let me end this on a light note or on a lighter note. Let me end this on a bright note. No one ever says dark note. No one ever says, let me end this on a dark note, as in, let's end this in a bad way. It's not something, so I just set that up in a funny way. But no, here's what's funny. I said, you're such a bitch. You could die as a sim who's trying to swim. Now, The Sims is a video game franchise. Everybody knows it's pretty popular. There's a lot of them. And I'm saying, of all the ways that the Sims die, they die from tornadoes, they die from all sorts of things, from swimming. That's the dumbest way you could have died as one of those. And then the other thing I'm saying is, buy my products for sale. You'll get the most bang for your buck. Now, that's a common saying, bang for your buck. That means you're going to get, you know, what you pay for. There's no tricks here. You're going to get exactly what you want out of the money that you spend buying my products. And then I make a comparison. I said, as if I was a pimp. Okay, bang for your buck is a saying, but of course, if I was a pimp, what would I be selling you? Obviously, people selling you prostitutes or whatever. So bang, as in the other meaning, the slang meaning, which means, you know, sexual intercourse, bang for your buck, so paying for sex, as if I was a pimp, because that's what I would be selling, of course. So just a dope comparison there as well. And now this is the finale, this is the final line, and this is very dope. This is by far one of the favorite lines I've ever written. Very, very dope. And it goes, okay, I love all my switchblades I use with ease. When I'm stabbing, it's like a mouse track. Excuse me. Let me start over. I love all my switchblades I use with ease. When I'm stabbing, it's like a mouse trap. When my metal sprung, you get caught and turn over looking like Swiss cheese. Okay, very, 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 very dope. Okay, I talk about switchblades and I use them with ease. Okay, switchblades, knives, whatever you want to call them, even shanks. And I said, when I'm stabbing, as in using my switchblades, okay, to kill or to hurt. I said it's like a mousetrap. So I'm comparing me using a switchblade for stabbing in this hypothetical punchline, comparing that to the act of a mousetrap. Because I said when my metal sprung, okay, what happens in the mousetrap? Mousetrap, how does it start? The metal gets sprung. The metal trips from the mouse or the rodent, whatever it is, taking the bait, whatever the bait is, cheese or peanut butter or whichever it is, the metal gets sprung physically. And I'm also a switchblade. What happens? The metal gets sprung, taking the blade outward, okay, instead of retracting. And I said you get caught and turn over, okay, in a mousetrap. You get caught because the metal was sprung. And what happens? You turn over because the spring, or excuse me, the part of the trap actually physically turns you over because it happens with the movement of a mousetrap. But I'm also saying you get caught and turn over because, you get in the switchblade force. What would happen? You would get stabbed and then you would turn over because, of course, the force from the trauma would force you to do that. And then I said, looking like Swiss cheese. Okay, Swiss cheese is the type of cheese that where there's lots of holes in them. Now, what can you get holes from? Okay, obviously stab wounds, multiple stab wounds is what I'm implying here. But also, of course, why would you look like Swiss cheese? Well, Swiss cheese could be one of the types of bait used on a mousetrap. So what would be on top of you in this mousetrap? The Swiss cheese that you were trying to get because the mousetrap flipped it on top of you. Okay? Very, very dope. Very dope. This is one of my favorite lines ever. Comparing the act of stabbing someone with a switchblade to the act of using a mousetrap. Very dope how I set this up. And that is the end of this rap proliferation. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to comment, message me, click like and subscribe. And any critiques, any questions, anything you didn't feel like I explained enough, any questions you may have about my lyrics or any other of my lyrics or any other of my pieces of work, please let me know and I'd be glad to answer your questions. Thank you very much for listening.